Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Let's start with a big question. What if our entire way of thinking about cancer is just plain wrong? Today, we're going to explore a completely different perspective, one that reframes this whole thing from a war we have to win into a journey of healing.
We all think we know the answer to this one, right? But what if the textbook biological definition is just scratching the surface? What if this question is actually an invitation to explore something way, way deeper about who we are?
And this quote from the foreword really gets to the heart of it. The journey isn't just medical, it becomes deeply personal. It's a chance to hit pause and really reflect, to ask not just what's going on in my body, but what's going on in my life.
All right, so let's dive right in by challenging the very words we use. We're always told to fight a battle against cancer, but what if that's the wrong approach? What if we're meant to start a dialogue instead?
Okay, so on one side, you have the classic war on cancer metaphor. We see it as this foreign enemy, an invader that we have to attack and destroy at all costs. But this alternative view, it flips the script completely. Instead of an enemy, what if we see it as a message? The action isn't to fight, but to understand and to nurture. And the goal? Well, it shifts from total eradication to, maybe, a kind of peaceful coexistence.
Now, this next idea from Dr. Xu Chonghua it's really something. He gives us this bad kid metaphor. Think about it. Cancer cells aren't alien invaders. They're our cells. They're like kids who have gone bad. But not because they're inherently evil. It's because their home, our body, has become a really poor, unhealthy environment. And that completely changes the goal, right? It's no longer about punishment. It's about rehabilitation. It's about asking, how can we fix the home so the kids don't feel the need to act out?
And if you want to take that idea even further, get this. Dr. Tai Song Yen, who's not just an oncologist, but a cancer survivor himself, asks this mind-blowing question. His perspective is that when a cell's environment becomes so toxic, so hostile that it can't survive, it mutates. It's this desperate last-ditch effort to adapt and live. A totally misguided survival instinct, but a survival instinct nonetheless.
So, if the environment in our body is the real issue, then you gotta ask, what shapes that environment? And that brings us to this powerful and honestly often overlooked connection between our minds and our bodies. And this is where Dr. Xu Ruiying comes in, saying something really fundamental. A lot of diseases have their roots not just in our physical bodies, but in our minds. The big idea here is that things like unresolved emotions and chronic stress, they're not just feelings. They are powerful forces that literally help shape our physical health.
Now, to kind of wrap our heads around this, some of the experts we're looking at bring up a famous and, yes, sometimes controversial experiment about how thoughts and words can supposedly change the physical structure of water crystals. Now, whether you buy the science or not, they use it as this incredible metaphor. I mean, think about it. If our inner state, our intentions could have that kind of impact, what effect are our thoughts and emotions having on our own bodies, which are, about 70% water?
So what's the biggest roadblock to healing? Well, according to Anita Morjani, whose incredible story is mentioned in the source material, it's one simple thing: fear. Fear isn't just an emotion that lives in your head. It becomes a biological signal. It's toxic. It triggers stress responses that tank your immune system and create an internal environment that is actively working against you getting better.
This leads to a really deep, kind of tough idea from Dr. Lin Chunyi. He suggests that sometimes illness can be linked to a deep, even unconscious desire for self-destruction. And if that's the case, then healing demands the absolute opposite: a powerful, positive, conscious will to live. It's not just about not being afraid anymore, it's about finding a profound reason to fully, completely embrace your life. Okay, so we've talked about the mind, but what about the physical stuff? What practical steps can we actually take to improve the terrain of our body? How do we literally start cleaning house? And Dr. Tai Chi has this brilliant, super simple way of putting it. He asks, is it the cockroach that brings the mess, or is it the mess that brings the cockroaches? Right? I mean, you can spend all your time and energy swatting at cockroaches, but if you don't clean up the messy room, more are just going to keep showing up. The focus has to shift from the symptom, the tumor, to the root cause, the environment that allowed it to grow in the first place.
So, how do we actually clean the room? What does that look like day to day? Well, it really comes down to these 4 foundational pillars. What you eat, so the fuel you put in your body, prioritizing deep, restorative sleep, which is when your body's healing systems really kick into gear, moving your body to boost oxygen and immunity, and, of course, managing that chronic stress.
And when we zoom in on diet, the big idea is fighting inflammation. So that means loading up on whole, plant-based foods, all that good fiber and antioxidants. It means choosing clean, unprocessed ingredients. And it means cutting way back on the stuff that causes inflammation, like processed foods and tons of sugar. But here's the key. This isn't about punishment. It's not about eating sad, boring food. The goal is to find joy and nourishment in food that actually heals.
You know, all of these ideas, reframing the disease, managing your mind, cleaning your environment, they're all pointing in one direction. They're all about a massive power shift. It's about going from being a passive patient to becoming the active, engaged leader of your own health story.
And I love this call to action from Dr. Tai Chi. It's so direct. Don't just believe it. You have to learn for yourself. It's this powerful reminder that, yeah, you can have doctors and partners on your journey, but the initiative, that has to be yours. Because at the end of the day, you are the world's #1 expert on you.
And maybe this is the most important takeaway of all. This is the big one. Healing isn't just something a doctor does to you. It's what you do for yourself. It is the sum of every choice you make, every single day, about your mind, your environment, and your habits.
So, what does that path to empowerment actually look like? Well, it boils down to these key steps. First, you have to calm the panic so you can think clearly. Then, you've got to find your why, that deep motivation to live that's stronger than any fear. It requires taking responsibility, really owning the power you have to change your lifestyle. And it all leads to this new goal. Not winning a war, but creating a lasting, peaceful coexistence inside your own body.
And that brings us full circle, right back to the beginning, but with a completely different question. What if this illness isn't just some random, unlucky attack? What if it's a message, a desperate call for change from deep inside you? That changes everything, doesn't it? It shifts the fundamental question from, how do I fight this, to, what is my body trying to tell me? And finding the answer to that, well, that could be the start of everything.